Hello Stampin' friends, this is Jeannie Moss, the Bluegrass Stamper. I want to welcome you to my studio here in the beautiful Bluegrass state of Kentucky, where I'm located very near Fort Knox. Today's project is going to be this coffee card that includes a gift card holder. So a friend of mine, Susanna, had a retreat in Wisconsin, and we made a gift card holder using this design. And when I saw it, I thought this would be perfect to use with the Latte Love stamp set and add a Starbucks gift card. So this is what we'll be making today. I'm using, as I said, the Latte Love bundle. It has coffee cups, it has the cute little cappuccino, the foam that you can put different designs in your coffee cup, splashes of coffee, a few words. It also has dies. You can make coffee makers and coffee pots, cut out cups. This one actually will cut out some of the DSP. I'll show you that in just a minute. And then there are other dies that I will show you as we go along. I already have those out. So we're using this bundle. I'm also pulling a die, a small die, out of this Citrus Blooms. I'm going to use, there's a little star flower like this one. It has two small ones and one large one. And I've pulled that out of this set to use. This is a beautiful set of dies. Look at this one. Isn't that just gorgeous? Those borders and frames and ugh. I haven't used this set yet, but it's coming. So I'll be using that. I'll be using the, I think it's called 3D Timber, this wood looking embossing folder. And I'll be using a little bit of the DSP from the A Little Latte DSP pack. So I'm just going to flip through it pretty quick. Some little coffee swirls. I love this color. Lots of coffee cups here. I think that die might even cut out this one. I am not 100% sure on that, but I know that the die will cut these out. I know one of the dies will cut out these coffee cups. There's beans, coffee swirls from stains, I guess. And see, there's where I've cut one of those out. So we're using this piece. This is little coffee beans on Calypso coral paper. And that's what we'll be using today. You'll need some supplies as well. We've got pecan pie. This piece is 2 3/4 by 11. We've got 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We've got a 2 3/8 inch square. We've got a 3/4 by 2 1/4 strip. Then we have early espresso. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I have cut the center of that out because I needed a square. And so I got the square actually out of that. This is a 2 1/2 inch square. This piece is 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. We've got basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. A 2 1/4 square. And then we've got our Calypso Coral DSP and a scrap of Calypso Coral. So those are the pieces that we are going to need. So the first thing we will do is take our strip here that's 2 3/4 by 11, and we're going to score it. We're going to score it at 4 1/4 and 8 1/2. And that is all the scoring we will do. This is our card base. It's just that one panel, the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to take this piece, we're going to fold it on those score lines. And then I'm going to take an old circle punch. This is a 1-inch circle punch, but you could use a die or an old circle punch that you have. This one is retired, but I like to keep those because they are so handy to have. And we're going to just put that in about halfway. We're going to center it, and we're going to punch. And that's going to give us our little finger hole to grab our gift card. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to attach this to the front of our card. We're going to just put some adhesive on there and line it up with the bottom of the card. So I'm actually going to use the Tombow multipurpose glue. So I'm going to just put some glue. I want to get my corners good because I don't want those to come up. And then I'm going to actually bring in a piece of scrap paper just so I don't have glue everywhere. And I will just line that up with the bottom of my card and give it a good rub. And then on the flap, I'm going to put glue right along the edge. Now you want to be careful. You do not want the glue to go in very far or your adhesive, because then your card is not going to fit inside there, because it's pretty tight fit for that gift card. So we're putting some glue along those edges, and then we're just going to close that down and seal that shut. Now you notice we didn't put any glue on this side because we don't, our card's going to go in there. So we just want it on these two, the top and bottom edge. And we put it on the flap so that we didn't go beyond our flap. So now that's the basis of our card. So our next step is going to be to add this brown panel. Now, I told you that I cut my square out of that. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't do that again. I did that because I was trying to save paper for my class. But after I got it all cut, I thought about when we put the white piece on top of that, whenever you get ready to write your message on there, you're going to need to be careful because it's not going to be so smooth and level. So I probably would not cut that center piece out of there again. So we're just lining that up with a little border and securing that down. And now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So we're going to bring in our panel that's going to be the inside of our card. I'm going to get that under a piece of scrap paper. And I've got the little coffee beans stamp. That is this little guy. And we're going to stamp him in Calypso Coral. And we're just going to run a few coffee beans up the side of our card. So we're going to start over here. And we're just going to go right up the side of our card like that. And that's it for that. We're going to stamp our little greeting. It says, "This one's on me." We're going to stamp that in Early Espresso. And that's just going to go kind of in the center of our card. We want to keep it down far enough that it will be hidden by the squares on the front. So you want to keep it down far enough that it'll be behind this. And then we're going to also, while we have this Early Espresso out, we're going to take our little white square and we're going to stamp the "Thanks so much" stamp. at the top of our square. And we're going to stamp in pecan pie that coffee splash. And we're going to stamp it in 2 different places. We are going to stamp it down in the bottom of the inside of our card. So we have a coffee splash there. And then we're also going to stamp it down on the front of our card, on the front of our DSP. So we've got a coffee splash there. And I think that is all of the stamping we are going to do. So the white panel is now ready to go over our early espresso panel. And like I said before, I probably wouldn't cut, if I remake this, I probably would not cut that square out of that. I do like to save paper, but I'm afraid when I go to write on this card that I'll have to be very careful with it. So there's the inside of our card. Now on the outside of our card, I'm going to put this piece, and what I've done, I've taken the piece that I showed you, this piece, and I've cut coffee cups out of it. So I've taken these 2 little coffee cup dies, and there's a handle, you know, one handle goes one way, and so the handles are on the opposite sides, and I've just cut those out of this piece. So that now I have these 2 little coffee cups that we'll use in a little bit. And so now this piece is ready to go on the front of our card. Again, this is just a paper saving technique. And then our next step will be to add this piece of DSP to the front of that and cover up those holes. And now we're ready to work on the focal point of our card. So I'm just going to set this over to the side. And we're going to work on this guy. So we have this square, and I took the pecan pie square, and I used this little die, which cuts out 2 little ovals. And I put that right in the center of that and cut that out. And that's going to be the coffee to go in our cup. So here's my piece that has the holes cut in it. I'm just going to add this piece to my early espresso piece. And then there's the white piece that we stamped on, our white square. And that's going to go on next. And that covers up those holes. And our next step is to add this little strip, and I've embossed it with this timber embossing folder. So it looks like a piece of wood. And that's going to be our little tabletop for our coffee cups. So I'm just going to put adhesive on, some glue on the back of that. I'm going to line that right up at the bottom of the white strip to make our little tabletop. Now I'm going to bring in our coffee cups and our coffee. And then I took that strip scrap that we had. It was just a little scrap from my scrap bin, and I used that star flower that I told you about from the Citrus Blooms bundle to cut out these little stars. So now we're ready to start assembling this piece, and all I'm going to do is put a tiny little bit of glue right above that crease in the coffee cup. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pick the coffee up and put it right there in my cup. So there's coffee in one cup, and there's the coffee in the other cup. Then I'm just going to add a tiny little dot of glue in the middle of the coffee cups for these little star flowers. So there are our little star flowers. I'm going to flip those over, and I'm going to use mini dimensionals on the back of those. And they are now ready to go on the card. On our little squares. So there's one. And there's the other. Now we have our 2 little cups of coffee. Then I'm going to add right across the bottom of this, I'm going to put 3 dimensionals. So you only want these on the bottom because the top is not going to be attached to anything. If you attach the top, then your card is not going to open. So now I'll just put this on. And there we go. I have this little flower that's left over, and I think I might just put him over here on this little guy. I don't know, he could go anywhere, but I'm going to put him there. And then the last thing I did was take a couple of our basic rhinestone jewels, and I colored them with the Calypso Coral, the dark Calypso Coral blend. Now I like to use the hard point. That's the one with see there's a thick line here and a thin line here. I like to use the one with the thin line because it's more of a hard point, where the other end is more of a brush tip. And I don't want to damage the brush tip because the embellishments are faceted, so they could be a little sharp. And now I'm ready to put these guys in the center of those little stars. The last thing I'm doing is adding some of the adhesive back swirl dots. That is this that goes with the suite. The suite comes with the stamp set and the dies and the DSP, these embellishments, and it also comes with this roll of dotted burlap ribbon, which is really pretty. I think the burlap ribbon may be the only thing we didn't use on this card. So I'm going to add one of these in this corner and another one in this corner. And our card is finished. So now all I need to do is go to Starbucks or another coffee shop. I mean, we have quite a few coffee shops now here. So I need to go to the coffee shop, get a little gift card, and I will slide it right under that flap, and this will make a great little gift. And it says, "This one's on me." I hope you've liked this project. I'd love for you to put any comments at the bottom. If you have any questions, you can reach me at bluegrassstamper@gmail.com. If you'd like to see more projects, my website is www.bluegrassstamper.com. If you need any products, I would love for you to shop with me. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, and I hope you'll join me again. Goodbye.